initially we had the 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. Those were 10 hours of curfew. Currently we are at the 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. So 3 hours down, we are currently at the 7 hours of curfew. And we did a spot check at the country's central business district just to confirm whether the government and law enforcers are implementing the curfew adherence on ground, or is it just curfew on paper? This is what we found out. The National Police Service is the institution mandated by the 2010 Constitution by the people of Kenya to enforce all laws and regulations on the land. For instance, on matters environment, the Forest Service Department officers, at the end of the day after making arrests, will have to involve the police force for the culprits to be charged. Any laws, generally including those of COVID-19 curfew guidelines by the Ministry of Health, are enforced by the police, whose major challenge is the lack of self-responsibility among Kenyans.
Saa 2:30 watu wanakuwa wengi. Tunasikia hizo juu lazima hizo magari zilie. Hizo za makarao zilie ndio watu waanze kuchangamka.
Our social nature in the country is such that we have a lot of social indiscipline. That people want police to be on their back to control them all the time. When you don't see police, you do the wrong thing. When you see police, you pretend to do the right thing.
According to the Independent Policing Oversight Body, or IPOA, they have received hundreds of complaints against police since the curfew was imposed in March 27, 2020. The complaints included deaths, shootings, harassment, assault, robbery, inhuman treatment, and sexual assault, leaving victims with severe injuries.
Tunapanga line, polisi wanakuja wanachokoza watu.
There are peculiar cases. Your vehicle breaks down on the road. You know, we have a number of people walking from Dandora to industrial area, walking from Kibera, Kawangware to industrial area to go and fend for themselves. And then unfortunately, the factory slightly delays, and then to save your money, you are running to go home. These are things that we consider genuine cases.
During the implementation of cessation of movement directives, which have since been lifted, notorious Kenyans resorted to using panya routes to evade curfew blockade spots, forcing the police to be unpredictable on where to set up check-up points.
A barrier at one point every day. People tend to avoid those barriers. We may not be able to afford paying policemen very highly. We struggle. And then you are there keeping on tempting us with money. Don't you think you are doing a wrong thing? Let me even beat you or put you in custody, but don't give me money. Starve me.
The Inspector General of the National Police Service, Mr. Hilary Mutiambai, has introduced standard operation procedures for his men for response during COVID-19, putting into consideration that police work involves exposure to all sorts of people and things, especially now amid the pandemic.
Maaskari huku wanatongaisha kidogo, ni kutukimbiza huku na huku. Wenye wana complain na curfew, wanashikwa, wanaenda wanalala station.
Slightly overwhelmed because of the conditions. That, for example, now putting people in custody, social distancing, we have to take people to court, and then you go to court, the prisons are not accepting the people, we have to bring them back to police custody. That is what is overwhelming because of COVID-19. But generally, when it comes to work, I don't think we are overwhelmed just because there's COVID-19. No. Remember, the activities of the country have slowed. The numbers in places, the numbers at night have slowed. So we are not as busy as we were when the economy is running normally.
As recorded in the recent past, Kenya police abuses could have undermined the coronavirus fight. In the commencement of the curfew implementation, police forced crowds of people to lie close together awaiting arrest as a tear-gassed crowd coughed and yelled hysterically, and police descended on them with batons, kicks and blows. Police themselves were at a risk of exposure as well. Locals have confirmed of ongoing arrests 5 months down the line, a move that could easily undermine government's ability to win popular support and cooperation in an effort to control the spread of the virus.
When people drink and get drunk, many a times they don't keep distance, they violate regulations, and therefore it was going to put us in much more awkward positions.
Recently, in his 11th State of the Nation address, President Uhuru Kenyatta permitted the sale of alcohol to hotel residents and a 1-hour extension on eateries closing time. But does this mean an increased workload to enforcers?
We have officers who have contracted COVID-19. We even have an officer who has lost his life. But it's part of our job. That is why you find us along the border in Somalia. We've lost our lives there, but we still have to soldier on. The government of President Uhuru Kenyatta has ensured that we have been fairly insured. And we no longer just die and go like that. Our families somehow get compensation.
Just like healthcare workers, the police are also in the front line of the COVID-19 warfare, with some even losing their lives to the global pandemic. The government should ensure police and Kenyans alike respect the law and avoid abusive conduct during curfew implementation.